Good afternoon. How we doing? A couple people are doing good. Come on, how you doing? I'm excited to be here because the Wave is one of those events that really does impact our profession. It really does impact the future of the profession. And I would tell you, giving up a weekend to be here should be exactly that. So I want to jump into it and really dive into this salutogenic model because I know this is the future of our profession. And as much as there can be divisions and conversations about how to practice and what to do, I don't ever judge people on how they practice, but I do know the future of our profession depends on filling up vitalistic schools. Would you guys agree with that? Oh, come on. That has to be a resounding. And so what I want to start with is just a quick story about someone that I had a chance to meet probably 6-7 years ago on a chance meeting in Maui. And I actually had a chance to speak at some chiropractic events with Wayne Dyer. Raise your hand if you've ever heard Wayne Dyer speak, listened to his books, audios, right? Phenomenal message. And I actually bumped into him as he was going for his morning walk, and he invited my wife and I over for tea, and we would sit there in the mornings that we met with him, and I would always bring a notebook like a nerd. Like that's what you do when you're around great people, and I was just like, yeah, what do you got? What do you got? You know. And he said, so chiropractic, like what a cool profession. Do most chiropractors realize how cool it is? And I said, I don't think so. I mean, I think a lot of us really need to wake up and understand it. And he said, the fact that your body has this life force in it, you don't give anything synthetic to it. You just work with the fields that are inside of it. Do you know that most people are just like, they're one adjustment away from just going quantum? And I was just like, let me go get a camera real quick, you know? Could you say that? And he said similar things like that on camera, which I thought were huge. And then we started getting into this conversation, just having some nice green tea and sitting around, and he really was bare-chested in his board shorts most mornings, and just Wayne Dyer. You know, just like, how cool is this? And one of the things he said is, listen, we all have our challenges. And whatever the challenge that's going on, it's not in your way, it's on your way. And I wrote that down and pretty much closed my notebook because where I was in my life at that time and what was going on was one of those things that was just like, put me on a different trajectory. But as we continued to meet and I would take notes feverishly whenever he spoke, one of the things that I found that really resonates with chiropractors and something that he has to share was the fact that the challenge you have before you today, and we all have them, according to Wayne Dyer, was basically the challenge you need. So please, if you're making notes, write that down. The challenge before you is the one you need. He said, you don't need to avoid your challenges. You need to find out what the message is from the universe. You need to find out why universal intelligence put this in your path, and you need to peel it back like the layers and understand the challenge you have is the gift you need. And he said, when you change your perspective around these things, then you're going to change your perspective on life. And really we hear a lot about the attitude of gratitude, and I know John DeMartini talks a lot about that, but what I learned from Wayne Dyer was how to do that. Just look at this scenario. One of the things he also said was, pretend like you chose this scenario for yourself. Even if it's not so good right now, pretend like you picked to be in this. You chose to be there. He said it'll change everything. And there were many gifts that he gave, but if you're here today and you're trying to find your way through something, I get it. I think that's part of being a chiropractor, right? Part of being a chiropractor is finding your way through it. But when we look at this model of salutogenesis and what I'm going to call versus allopathic, because it is a sinking ship, what it really looks at is dis-ease versus health ease. And if you do read the green books and you go to a philosophically based program like Life West, then you understand that some of even the conflicts within the profession are just misunderstandings, because a subluxation in the green books is never defined as the cause of disease. That's a medical term. A subluxation is the cause of dis-ease. It's dis-ease in the body, which means there's not balance. You're not in homeostasis. Even better still is the salutogenic model, which basically looks at the health ease of the body. And how cool is it that we get to fine-tune the nervous system and get the body back into that state? So when we look at the salutogenic versus the allopathic model, I want to tell you that being a chiropractor means you're different. It means that you're a rebel. It means that you do things differently in your office, and you should define them as such. What I like to do as a practicing doc is take this into my table talk. How can you use this Monday? And I'll tell you, some of the parts of practice that I see that are weakest for chiropractors can be your table talk, right? Your table talk, what you ask your patient determines their focus, and focus is always more important than the facts. Please write that down. Your patient's focus is always more important than the facts. So if they're on your table, they're face down, and they're in a stress mode, you can't ever adjust into stress mode. You've got to ask them a question. You've got to shift their focus, get them thinking differently, change their physiology, and then their body will accept the adjustment. But if they're in defense mode and that's what's running through their body, and then you put a force into their body while they're in defense physiology, or they're thinking about traffic or something bad, then how could they not perceive the adjustment as anything less than an attack on the body, right? So we've got to get really clear on what it is that we're doing when we're doing our table talk. And my favorite thing is 3 questions. I like to bring anything around in 3 questions with my patients. Your job with your table talk docs is not to give better answers, it's actually to ask a better question. So when it comes to a condition versus a disease, this is almost like the salutogenic model on your table Monday. And I want to give you some table talk that'll help you out. Is that okay? Here's what we do, is we don't answer questions, I like to ask the question. So if I get a question, I ask it back. We had a patient come in and say, Doc, I've got high blood pressure and my medical doctor said I need to take high blood pressure medication. Should I do it? And I just take a step back and I go, I'm not going to answer that. I'm just going to ask 3 questions and bring it back around. So high blood pressure. I said, okay, is high blood pressure a condition in your body, or is it a disease that's ravaging your body, causing pain, symptoms, all kinds of things? Probably a condition. No, it's definitely a condition, okay? Once you start taking this blood pressure medication, my second question, once you start taking this blood pressure medication, when do you get to quit? I don't think ever, never, no. And what are the side effects of you taking this for the rest of your life? Geez, Dr. Glow, I'm not sure. Me neither. You should talk to your doctor, find out your other options, and if they don't give you something that's satisfactory, come back and let's talk about that, okay? 3 questions, you can spin that around, and that becomes your table talk. It's just better questions. You've heard it said the quality of your questions equals the quality of your life. The truth is the quality of your questions equals the quality of your practice. And if you really want to put this salutogenic model into your office, start asking better questions, including when someone goes face down and says, hey, I was just in traffic, my day sucked, my cat got run over, you know, all these bad things. It's like a country song, you know, everything like horrible happens in country songs. But what's good is if you play a country song backwards, like the dog comes back, your truck comes back, your girlfriend, right? Like that's how country works. But if they have a bad day, don't indulge in it. Tell me about the best vacation. Tell me about your best holiday. What's coming up in the future that's good? Change their physiology. And this is how we can start putting this into practice. If you look at these states that's been talked about, this is 10 years old, looking at different journal articles talking about pre-nociological states in the body. And this is from an exercise physiology article. So a lot of times we talk about these things in chiropractic, people go, you're crazy. That doesn't fit in the medical model. I agree. In fact, I don't want to fit in the medical model. Who's with me? Come on, if you don't want to fit in the medical model, let me hear you. I'm over it. It's not working. Does that make sense? I travel all over the world, and when I get to the airport, I hate taxis. Anybody else with me? Taxis are dirty. Oftentimes the drivers are rude. It's bad. It smells. There's nothing worse than a taxi driver that smokes, right? You get out of there and it's just like, But let's talk about Uber for a second, right? How do you want the temperature? What kind of music do you want to play? 2 totally different universes. Would you agree? You're never going to look at a taxi the same way after this. So I think we should be the Uber of chiropractic. Would you agree? Offer something better, different. It's a parallel universe. That's what we need to create. And they've been talking about it in other healthcare fields. This is a study, long-term study. And if you want the articles, I'll give these to you. But this talks about people under chiropractic care for 52 weeks. And the DNA repair that happens only at 52 weeks into chiropractic care. Because I would also say we're not seeing our patients long enough. Would you guys agree? Pain. Chiropractic does great when it comes to pain. But that isn't all we do. There's way more to it. So if you start looking at the science, you start looking at the conversations that are out there, I'm going to tell you the conversation needs to change. My most recent associate just opened his practice. And we sat down, I said, where do you want to practice? Somewhere in the Midwest. We started looking at demographics. Long story short, he opened in Arkansas. I know, I have to wait for the laughs, that happens, right? It's like, what? Yeah, but he opened his practice in Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart. Something crazy like 37 people per day are moving into that town. He went 0 to 200 visits in 6 weeks. Would you agree that would be a good thing for our graduates coming out of every chiropractic school to go 0 to 200 in a short amount of time? 6 weeks. So we laid out the flow, we set it up for volume, and I said, look, you've got to open your heart and your capacity and go, we need to help more people. Because I hear this said a lot in chiropractic, that it's not about the numbers. You're right, it's never about the numbers. It's about the people. The numbers are people. Does that make sense? These are people. It isn't about the numbers. It's about, could you help more people this week? Could you help someone else this week? And if so, let's get all the distractions out of the way and just focus on that. Let's just focus on that. This is our salutogenic model in the office. Docs, please write this pyramid down. Because most of our new patients still come in pain. We do performance talks. We go in the community and attract wellness patients. But the reality is most of the chiropractors are talking about pain, so guess what our new patients do? They talk about neck and back pain, and that's okay. When they come in and we go through corrective care, we start them out as patients. When they graduate from their corrective care and they go into wellness care, then they become practice members. And if they've been with us for over a year, they become a vitalist in our office. So we work them through a paradigm that's very similar to the language that they're using. I don't ever make people wrong, because once you're in disagreement, then you no longer can influence. If you're in agreement, you can influence people. I did one of the CA breakouts this morning, and I was talking to the CAs about yes and. Please write those 2 words down, yes and. Any conflict with a patient, any problem in the office, yes, I understand that, and did you also consider this? Yes, go into agreement. I want to take my daughter for ear infections to put tubes in it. Yes, I understand that. I know you want to take care of this. And did you also consider chiropractic does this? Yes, and is way better than no, but. And as communicators, we do that all the time. No, don't do that. But what you should do is come in here. No, don't go to the MD because all the nurses ride around on brooms. Truth is, nurses are some of the best patients, right? But this is my practice model. This is what we do. Because the reality is, this is my operational premise. This is my philosophy when we work in our community, is that someone is praying to find you. Please write that down. That changes everything. I know we're not supposed to talk about products here. We've got an awesome room full of vendors, but I'm going to talk about one product that I think every chiropractor needs. And sometimes I get in trouble for mentioning this. It's a supplement, and the supplement's called Hopium. Every patient needs it. Does that make sense? We've got to give people hope first and say, look, we can help you. That's an important phrase. We can help you. And then on the back side of that, what winds up happening in our office is we have patients that turn in their medications, they turn in their drugs. I don't tell them to stop taking them. We just say, pay attention to your body. It's going to work better. It works better with chiropractic care. Would you guys agree? So this is what our walls look like. We have walls full of asthma inhalers, medications. We have scalpels up on the wall, those stupid things, those nebulizers they give kids. Like, I'm all about making our community healthier. And the reality is, if we don't, we know there's an allopathic model out there that's eating them up. I've got a way to do statistics that's a little bit different. I like to put it to rock and roll, a little bit of music. You guys okay with that? We okay with a little Macklemore this afternoon? This is how I like to do statistics. If you wouldn't mind, turn that up for me. I'm going to go, I'm going to try it one more time. I love the AV department. The last thing you want to do is ever yell at the AV department. Help me out, boys. I'll skip it in 10 seconds if we can get that working. I'm just going to move on. Let's give the AV department some love. I'm moving on. Not their fault, all right? They're doing a great job. Here's the deal. These are some of the stats I think you need to know. 59% of opioid drugs that have been given were for neck and back pain. Can chiropractic help out with that? Absolutely. Even in its most primitive form, chiropractic can help out with that. 59%. We have, today, statistics this year, 155 people die per day from opioid prescriptions. 155 people per day. 80% of the population of Ohio was written a prescription for opioids in the last 5 years. The people in Ohio have as many as 68 pills per person. This is why there's backlash coming from people in the US right now. The opioid epidemic's out of control. We have 80% of people that are using heroin got started in the last 5 years on an opioid prescription written by their medical doctor. I'm not blaming the MDs. I'm just saying the drug companies have a whole different agenda. Would you guys agree? Their agenda isn't to make people healthier. I fully believe that. I'm not against telling my patients, because what I like to do is do brain hacks. I like to teach my patients to watch the news, see the media, and look at it through a different lens. When a rock star, when a sports figure dies, look at the cause of death. And more often than not, unfortunately, there's some kind of an oxy-opioid, fentanyl, something in the combination. 30%, how sad is this? 30% of all children in foster care are there because their parents are either in drug treatment or they're dead because they overdosed. 30% of kids in foster care are tied to a pain pill. So I'll ask you again, is that something chiropractic could help with? For sure. It's huge, right? It's huge. And our job, even in its simplest form of getting rid of pain, is massive. It's massive, but if we're going to take people beyond that, beyond the pain model, then we've got to educate them on a whole different level. So I've got statistics and numbers that we push out all the time on Instagram, on emails. If you want that stuff, send me a message. I'll get you the articles that we just talked about that are positive for chiropractic, because even when I put drug stats on Facebook now, I can't boost it and promote it if it's anti-pharmaceutical. How crazy is that? So depending on what we put out there to just share, these are scientific studies, research. If I put it out there, we can't boost it and promote it to put more eyeballs on it if it's anti-pharmaceutical. That's where we are. So we've got a big job to do. It's got to be a grassroots effort. So one of the things that I've teamed up with Dr. Oberstein to do is we are renting out the Rose Bowl again. We rented out the Rose Bowl down in Pasadena last year. We've done it the last 3 or 4 years. We host an event we call Concussion Roulette. And what we're going to do is we've got at least 2 Life West faculty. They're going to be speaking at this event. But these are some of the athletes that will be there. These are my patients. That's Martellus Bennett. He's a Super Bowl champion. The guy in the middle will not be there because he's going to be in season. That's Christian Yelich. He's the MVP for the National League last year for the Brewers. We've got Brooks Orpik, who just won the Stanley Cup with the Washington Capitals. And that's Misty May Trainer, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, getting her kids adjusted. Is chiropractic awesome or what? Would you guys agree? So what we're going to do is we're going to do an event in the Rose Bowl, but we're going to live stream it. We're going to let people know their experiences on chiropractic, and then we're going to talk about chiropractic through the 2 days. But I want to hear from these elite athletes, their experience with chiropractic care. Because somebody like Brooks with the Stanley Cup, he went to the Washington Capitals after he won the Cup with the Penguins, and he sat down with the owner, and he said, look, there's 2 things we need to do if we're going to win the Cup with the Capitals. And the owner said, okay, lay it on me. What is it? He said, we need 2 practice rinks. And the owner said, what do you mean? He said, we need 1 ice that we're working out on, and halfway through practice, they always have to Zamboni it. We need to go right onto the other ice for injury prevention. The owner said, all right, that's cool. He owns the basketball team and the hockey team, done. He said, what else do we need? He said, we need a chiropractor full time. And he said, well, we have somebody. He does ART. And he said, no. We need a chiropractor that's going to correct subluxations. How badass is that, right? And I'm not the chiropractor. I practice in Southern California. So there's a chiropractor back in DC that now comes in. They have someone that does ART, and I'm not against it. Most of these athletes get it. That's cool. But what he got was his first adjustment after he had been knocked out and concussed 4 times on the ice. He played 19 seasons in the NHL, won 2 Stanley Cups, and when he sat down with the owner of the new team, he said, you came from the Penguins, tell us how to win. And he laid out the recipe, and one of the most important things he said is, we need someone that's actually going to get people adjusted. We need someone that's going to find subluxations and do it differently, because I didn't know that chiropractors did more than just muscle work. I had no idea. That's what we can do if we start educating people. So this is the venue we're gonna do it in. It's gonna be in the Rose Bowl. This is the press box of the Rose Bowl. That'll be your view, should you decide to join us. I need some LifeWest students to help us out and be Sherpas for the day, so when these athletes roll in, you can greet them, you can get them up. I wanna make this something that's super big for chiropractic, so we're gonna take it to the airwaves. We're gonna do live streams, we're gonna get interviews. This is also one of our speakers, Alex Morgan. Let's hear it for Team USA, the women's soccer team, right? She's not one of my patients, but I've been teaching in the profession for the last 15 years, and one of my students, this is his patient. So when they just won it, I said, look, they're gonna be hot on the radar for the next year. Women's soccer is also part of the Olympics next year. Can we get Alex? 2 phone calls later, he said, Alex will be there. That would be awesome, right? Talk about their experiences with true chiropractic care and what we really do with the nervous system. It's not about injury management, it's really about getting these athletes in on what we call Tune-Up Tuesday, or Wellness Wednesday. So docs, please write that down. That's what we call it for our patients. If they're mechanistically minded, we call it Tune-Up Tuesday. If they're vitalistically minded, we call it Wellness Wednesday. Speak their language, listen to your patients. What is it that they want? And unfortunately, I won't be at the Wave next year because I'm gonna be in Tokyo taking care of some other athletes. Hope that's okay with everybody. But this is the US indoor volleyball team, and right now, that girl in the middle, she's the MVP for the indoor team. And she's a 4-time All-American out of college. And basically, we have these athletes now that come to us because they want the right kind of chiropractic care. And I'll tell you, I'm a diversified doc. Hope that doesn't offend anybody. Right? The idea is I find, detect, and correct subluxations, and I think if you language it properly, people get it. So I'm gonna share with you some of the things that we do in the office that help us get there. From a management perspective, if you're gonna see a bigger volume, docs, please write this down. You need to be informed, not involved. Oftentimes what I see is in volume practices, the doctor's freed up to do the things they need to do. In practices that suffer to break through certain barriers and numbers of helping people, the doctor is the subluxation, right? Oftentimes the doc has to be involved in every decision. Look, docs, if you want to serve more people, you got to delegate to elevate. You've got to give things away to your team so your practice can rise. And oftentimes that means you just need to be informed. You don't need to be involved in every process. So please write that down. That's huge. As much as I travel and speak and share what we do, ultimately what needs to happen is you need to get out of the way. You need to let your team do what they're supposed to do. I'll go back on that. Second thing is be distinct or be extinct. The more we try to fit into the medical model, in my opinion, I think the more we get blended in and people get confused on what it is that we do. So my question to you is, what do you do differently? What do you do that's different than anybody else? And the last thing, I got this from Wayne Dyer as well, is the universe doesn't give you answers. The universe will always give you resources. And then you need to listen to your innate intelligence and be resourceful. The universe gives you resources. It doesn't just lay out a red Ferrari because you thought about it. It'll give you the resources to get the red Ferrari. Does that make sense? And a lot of times we say, oh, I'm thinking happy thoughts, it's gonna come to me. No, you gotta do your part. So please write this down. Trust your innate thought flashes. Listen to that inner voice. That's the thing that says how great you are, and oftentimes we snuff it out, we push it down. Listen to your innate. That's universal coming to you. If you meditate, you pray, and you put good things into the universe, when they come back, that's your innate intelligence. And I think when you get this wired, this is my mantra, 360 degrees of success, success in all areas, then you get to do the things you love to do. So I know we mentioned Mark and Lynn Hudson earlier today, but Cairo, Europe is a really special place. If you ever get a chance to get over there, we met a really cool family. They started this company called Nalu. They sell really cool surf swag. The profits from the surf swag actually put kids in India back in school that at the age of 12 are in some of the most horrible conditions. And I knew Jimmy would talk about India earlier today. What an awesome opportunity for LifeWest students to go to a place where they will be fully appreciated. These students are coming out of this school with a head of self-esteem that isn't found other places, right? The students that are coming out of here are the line of people waiting to see them. That's what our profession should see. So we took our kids there and we personally gave away these school uniforms, 4,000 kids. We went there for 3 weeks a couple years ago. And I have the ability to step in and out of my practice to do this stuff because when the vision's big, you're nonstop. When you have a big vision, the energy comes to you. Thinking small is exhausting. Thinking small is what robs you of your energy. They did so well that they invited these chiropractic kids to the United Nations. They spoke at the United Nations about what it is that they were doing to change the world, and that's my son at 12 years old speaking at the United Nations. Chiropractic kids, just like we ordained it, right? So if you want to change the world, what's your vision? Share it often with your team and get behind it. I wrote a chapter in a book with Jack Canfield this year. It took me forever. Jack Canfield wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, one of the nicest guys. Hey, Brad, would you write a chapter? I was like, oh man, it's like homework. Probably, it's like, it took me forever. I want to leverage athletes. I want to leverage authors. I want to leverage media. I want us to leverage the profession so people know what it is that we do. People have to know what chiropractic is because the allopathic model is failing. If you really want to put the salutogenic model into practice, my question is, what are you going to do Monday from this weekend, right? And I'll tell you, one of the statistics we always keep in our practice is how many students we send to Life West. This is just the last 3 or 4 years. This is Vanessa. She's already graduated from Life West. This is Janessa. She's just graduated from Life West. This is my old CA, Rhea. She just graduated from Life West. This is Kyle, graduated from Life West. That's Haley. She's about to graduate from Life West. That's Anthony, who won the Talk the Tick contest. We're going to do that after Heidi speaks tonight. He was at a different school, got around vitalistic students at other schools and said, I think I'm missing something. My school doesn't have it. Maybe I should transfer to Life West. I said, I'll make the call, brother. Hey, Ron, yeah, we got a good one for you. This is Anthony Schuler. His grandfather ran the Crystal Cathedral, Robert Schuler. He'd like to come to Life West. I think it'd be a really good fit. He just won Talk the Tick and he realized he's not getting vitalism at his school. Can he come there? Admissions approved, right? That's how it should work. This is Aziza. You might not recognize her because she's starting in a month. And this is Jeremy. He's starting in a month. Listen, we've got a big job to do. These are all my patients or CAs that were in my office that are coming to this school. These aren't just words. We have cool things going on in this profession. My kids speaking at the United Nations was like my most proud dad moment, right? I don't care if they become chiropractors. They could marry chiropractors. It's cool, baby, right? They got options. Right? But my question is, when you look at your statistics, what are you doing to help out this profession? What are you doing to fill up this school? It's our obligation. I think it's our moral obligation, if we really know what's going on in healthcare, that we do that we change the world. And it comes from an inside-out perspective. It starts in your office. It starts with your table talk, and hopefully the byproducts wind up at this school. Hey, I'm super honored to be speaking here before Dr. Oberstein. I think the vision of this school, the board, the professors, the teachers, the faculty, the student leadership. I was just at seminar a couple weeks here on campus. It's awesome. It is awesome. If you're potentially thinking about going to school here, you need to do it. If you're a chiropractor, it is no longer okay to send students to the convenient school down the street and then pretend they're going to get it when they get out. It doesn't work. There's too much going on. We need a vitalistic crew of chiropractors that will rally together and take it to other continents. Are you with me on that? We know that there's a drug and epidemic problem going on in the States, and it's only going to get worse because they keep pushing their agenda. You have to get louder. I want you to see more people. I want you to be more successful in your practice because ultimately, whoever comes out of this school is going to be your colleague. And if they're coming out of this school, it's a good thing for your community. If they're coming out of other schools, we get back into that disagreement, that fight that's gone on in chiropractic for too long. We do two things in our profession. I think we save lives and we give life. Are you with me on that? We save lives and we give life. That's what we do each and every week in our practice. And what I want you to do is play at a much bigger level, walking out of this weekend, going into Monday. Make your list of things you're going to do tonight. Please, what goes into the process on Monday? And ultimately, that's how you start to change your community. Hey, my name is Brad. I'm honored to be here. I'm super stoked to be speaking before Dr. Oberstein. Guy's got a set of lungs and a vision that is igniting the profession. We've got some events we've done with other doctors, and the most requested speaker is Ron Oberstein. So I appreciate being here. I'll see you guys around. Thank you.
Give it up for Dr. Glow.